story about a little girl who lives in the Hudson Valley of New York, my granddaughter Adelaide's. When Adelaide's goes out for a hike, you just never know what kind of treasures she will bring home in her backpack. So this takes place on a beautiful fall day, and Adelaide is going out to look for treasures. The first thing she finds is a pine cone. This pine cone is covered with white sap and it smells like Christmas. So she picks up the pine cone and puts it in her backpack. As she walked along in the beautiful fall day, it's the kind of day where the air is cool, but the sun is still warm, and you walk along and you hear those crunchy, crunchy, crunchy leaves. Adelaide is looking for stones as well, because stones are one of her favorite treasures. The best stones come from the edge of a river or lake because they have been tumbled and polished by the sand and the water. Up here on the trail, the stones are rough and craggy and often covered with moss and lichen. But she finds a beautiful sparkly stone. Oh, I wish you could see this. It's got purple and gold. It's the most beautiful sparkly stone. She takes the stone and puts it in her backpack. What's that? It's a woodpecker, way off in the distance. The woodpecker is digging away at old trees looking for bugs. A lot of birds at this time of year have to fill themselves up because they have a long way to go to their winter homes. And Adelaide has found a feather. This is a flight feather. She picks up the feather and puts it in her backpack. Another one of Adelaide's favorite things to pick up is beautiful leaves. At this time of year, there's so many different colors. She finds a great big oak leaf and a teeny tiny little leaf that came from a little bush. She also finds maple leaves of all different colors and sizes. Some are red and orange and yellow, so many different pretty leaves. Also, there are leaves from the maple trees, the sugar maples, where her mother gets sap to make maple syrup in the spring. So she picks up a maple leaf and puts it in her backpack. The leaves that Adelaide is looking for come from a tree called a quaking aspen. A quaking aspen is a tree that has beautiful little heart-shaped leaves that are darker on one side and lighter on the other, so that when the wind blows, the tree seems to shimmer. That's how it got its name, the quaking aspen. And in the fall, the leaves turn a beautiful gold. As she's walking along, she sees a tree, a quaking aspen, that has a beautiful, smooth, white bark, black dots and lines. Oh my goodness, it looks like is there a face in the tree? Oh, it really looks like it. So she walks up to the tree, walks around it. It looks beautiful, piled up with soft, gold, crunchy leaves. She puts down her backpack and leans up against the tree. And as she does, the tree seems to shiver and shake. She steps back. What's going on? She looks at the tree. It does look like there's a face, 2 eyes and a mouth, and one of the eyes winked at her when she touched the tree. She popped back, reached out her hand again, and touched the side of the tree. The tree smiled and it began to speak to her. Little girl, have no fear. You are always welcome here. I'm such a lonely tree, but when you touch me, I am free. I am rooted to the ground. Can you skip and dance around? The tree wants her to dance. The tree is stuck in the ground, but it's waving and moving and asking her, please, 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 will you skip and dance for me? Adelaide's never been asked to dance by a tree before, but she's a polite girl, so she begins to walk around the tree. She begins to skip. And dance. And in her excitement, she actually grabs a hold of one of the branches and it wraps itself around her. The twigs grab her arm and the leaves stick to her skin and the tree hangs onto her, picks her up, and starts to wave her around in the air. The tree begins to writhe and wrench and rip itself out of the ground. The tree begins to dance around on the earth, holding the little girl terrified in its branches. The tree gets more and more excited and it's moving all around the forest, throwing the little girl up in the air. She's very frightened. The tree throws the little girl high in the sky and she floats down and landed in a big pile of leaves. Oh my goodness, she is so frightened. Her little heart is beating. She grabs her backpack and starts to move away, but the tree says, little girl, you have given me such pleasure. Let me give you my treasure. The tree has settled its roots back into the hole. It's become still. Then the tree goes, shakes itself, and showers the little girl with leaves. She takes her backpack, stuffs it full of leaves, and takes off home. When the little girl Adelaide got home, she told her family all about what had happened. I was walking in the woods, picking up treasures. I got a pine cone and a sparkly stone and a flight feather, and I picked up a mushroom. It was wonderful, and I got lots of leaves, but then I found a tree, and the tree talked to me, and it picked me up, and it pulled itself out of the ground and danced around. And her mother and father said, okay, that's nice, dear. Go get ready for supper. And the little girl said, no, wait, I have these treasures. And she opened her backpack and she pulled out the pine cone. And she pulled out the sparkly stone. And she pulled out the beautiful feather. And she pulled out the mushroom that she had found. And finally, at the bottom of her backpack, she pulled out and she tipped it over and dumped out all of the beautiful leaves that had turned to gold. The end.